What's up, fellow sports fanatics, and welcome to this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Let's get this show rolling. The past weekend, the NBA held their annual All-Star Weekend in Toronto, Canada. Kyle, what stood out to you about the event?
Well, I think first and foremost, the dunk contest. It was probably the best one we've had since 2009 when Nate Robinson and Dwight Howard went at it. Mostly I like that one because you like the short guy and Nate Robinson getting up there 5'9", I believe, getting up there and dunking. I think some interesting things, Karl-Anthony Towns being Isaiah Thomas, being a big man to win the skills challenge. I thought having that as a first year, it kind of showed the evolution of the big men in the NBA, how skilled they are. Levine did a great job along with Aaron Gordon in the dunk contest. Like we said, Gordon had some really impressive dunks, but Levine, free throw line range, behind the backboard. All-Star game, it's okay. It's not great. 196 to 173 is the final score. Obviously, no defense, which you expect that. You don't want them to get hurt or anything like that. They're just out there to have fun. It could be a little more competitive, I guess.
Yeah, well, what I would say it stood out to me about the All-Star Weekend is the three-point contest in particular. What I thought was pretty amazing is that you have two of the best backcourt shooters in the league, and Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, going at it along with Devin Booker in the final round of the three-point contest. Now, what I found to be very interesting is that Klay Thompson was actually able to defeat Stephen Curry with 27 points to Curry's 23.
Right.
And to me, that was just something that I did not see coming. And other than that, in the actual All-Star game itself, Russell Westbrook won his second straight MVP of the All-Star game with an amazing stat line of, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals.
Right.
And I love seeing this in the All-Star game because I like seeing this energy and this passion that one player, that not a lot of the other players actually see on the court, and you can see the lack of motivation. Yeah. And so whenever Russell Westbrook comes with this intensity to this game, I think it's great for the All-Star game.
And did you see Anthony Davis, man? Some of those lobs he was catching.
Oh.
I think he caught one way behind his head to catch that one from Chris Paul. That was pretty impressive.
Oh, yeah. He's got some ups.
Yeah, he sure does. Staying in the NBA, the trade deadline is tomorrow at 3 Eastern. Billy, what players do you see being on the move, and what teams do you think need to make a trade?
Well, when looking about contenders and seeing who wants to make that extra push to get into the final dance of the NBA championship, there's the Atlanta Hawks. I feel like they've got some pieces that definitely can be moved. Right. Whether that be Al Horford, their center, or Kyle Korver, one of the best three-point shooters in the league. There's a lot of teams out there that could definitely use a big man and a spot-up shooter that can knock down three-pointers.
And don't forget about Jeff Teague as well. He's possibly on the move as well.
Jeff Teague has also been on the trade block. And so if you're looking to move some of these people, some teams that might be interested that I've seen and heard about, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're looking for a spot-up shooter to maybe help them sit in the corner and get those extra buckets that LeBron needs. The San Antonio Spurs, now with Danny Green's three-point percentage and shot percentage really declining this year from the past two seasons.
Ever since that finals, against the Heat, where he went off in the finals, he's really struggled and gone downhill.
It's almost like he hasn't been the same player.
Yeah.
And so the Spurs, they've been looking for somebody to possibly fill that void. But other than that, you've also got some other big names out there like Dwight Howard from the Houston Rockets. He's been looking to get on the move lately. Some possible destinations for him are maybe the Boston Celtics, who have two decent big men, and Olenek and Solinger. Yeah. But if they're really wanting to make a bigger push, I think a big man is maybe where they need to go, whether that's Horford or Howard, whatever that may be.
Yeah, even Danny Ainge said he doesn't think he has the players to win the East, and he's right, he doesn't. But at this point, Boston is probably the team that's going to get the most hype, especially before the deadline tomorrow. They had a ton of first-round picks coming up, including the Brooklyn one, the protected first-round pick. I don't see him making a move just because you won 5 out of 6, including a win on the road at the buzzer against Cleveland, a home win over the Clippers in overtime, and then the only loss was a crazy finish to the Bucks. But, Danny Ainge is a guy who's not afraid to make a move. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move. I'm not sure if they should at this time. I think maybe wait till the offseason. Dwight Howard, I think he's gone. Houston's really struggling. They're out of the playoffs right now. They got to make a move. I'm not really sure where he's going to fit, where they're going to get the best profit back for him. There's talks with Miami and the Hassan Whiteside. I don't really see that. I mean, they're the same player. Hassan's just less offensively, I think, talented-wise. Kevin Love's a big name in Cleveland being talked about. Not sure if he'll be traded. I think he needs to be. I don't think he's a 3 option there. And with that pick, Blake Griffin is an interesting thing because if he is moved, he's not coming back till probably a week or 2 before the playoffs start, so he can't really get acquainted with his new players.
No. Now, if you see him moved, where would you think would be the best fit for Blake Griffin?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I've heard Wilbon say Cleveland for the club. Kevin Love. I don't know. Griffin's a star. I'm not sure the Clippers should get rid of him, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I mean, you got a good core there, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, now for our weekly tech topic, the Red Raiders bolstered their tournament resume with 2 wins over ranked opponents this past week. Kyle, what impressed you most about these wins?
Well, I mean, the scoring. I mean, 85 points against Iowa State in overtime, and then 84 on the road at Baylor. Man, I mean,
wow.
Really 84 to, what was it, 66 or something
like
that?
Yeah, that Baylor game, they came out all guns firing.
Yeah.
And, that just what we haven't seen with Texas Tech over the last couple of years and even this season all the time is the ability to make shots.
Yeah.
And over these past couple of weeks, they have came in and they're making their three-pointers.
Yeah. Threes are big, yeah.
Their three-pointers are huge. And not only that, they're getting a lot of production inside the paint with the absence of Odiase. Yeah. And I think that's huge.
Well, Odiase is possibly returning back in the first week or second week of March. I listened to Tubby Smith podcast with Andy Katz and Seth Greenberg. He was talking about that. That's just another 10 more points a game for Tech. But I think the emergence of Keenan Evans. His play through the beginning of the season was just okay. It was enough to get by. Mm-hmm. But 17.3 points per game over his last 3. He had 5 assists and 4 steals in the Baylor game. He was all over the floor, and the 21-point effort, a career high for him. Aaron Ross, he's really played well. About 17 points a game in February. They're 3-1 since Justin Gray's been inserted to the starting lineup. I think Devontae Williams coming off the bench has helped him get back into his rhythm. He had the 19-point game against Iowa State, and then he played well against Baylor. But you look at Tech's winning these last couple games without Gocher and Williams really contributing too much besides Williams' big game against Iowa State. Mm-hmm. I think the young guys are really stepping up. Zach Smith has been solid all year, but he is really becoming a sensation, man. I mean, his dunking ability. That's just. I mean, he could have won the dunk contest.
That goes to show Zach Smith can almost jump out of the gym.
Yeah.
And so, but I want to go back to another player that you mentioned, Keenan Evans.
Right.
His play against Iowa State, especially in overtime,
right.
The way he was able to elevate his game to the critical points of the game and ultimately get that go-ahead 3-point shot, which was huge.
That was big. Yeah.
And if it wasn't just
cool.
a toss-up by him,
no.
But it happens to go in, and eventually that builds and enables Tech to win that game. But the emergence of Keenan Evans over the last couple of games has just been great for us.
Yeah. And Justin Gray's he's been solid as well. He was knocking down shots like it was nothing against Baylor, hand in the face. And that's the main thing. I think if they could continue to make shots like this is what Tubby Smith envisioned when he brought these young guys in. Mm-hmm. And they're only sophomores. I mean, they only got 2 seniors on the team and a junior in Aaron Ross and Devin Thomas. So this team's got a real chance in these upcoming years, but they're there this year. I mean, they've been in every game. Especially against the ranked team. So they're there. Tubby's done a great job. I mean, first time back-to-back since 2007, the Bob Knight era against Kansas and A&M. So, I mean, it's been a while since Tech's had some fun and that. But to get into the big dance, 2 teams made 8-10 records last year in the Big 12, Texas and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was 18-14. Right now, Texas at 15-9. I could see them going 8-10. That's win 3 at Oklahoma State, home against TCU, and home against K-State. But tonight, if they can win tonight, I think that propels them in.
Oh, I completely agree with you there.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, quickly, Billy, your prediction on tonight's game between Tech and Oklahoma.
I think that if Tech wants to win, we're going to have to play great defense and keep making shots like we have been. And so for that, I'm going to go ahead and say Tech wins tonight, 74-69.
Really? Well, OU's kind of struggled lately with their shooting. Obviously, they got one of the best players in the country in Buddy Hield. So, look, Tech's played them tough here in Lubbock. It's a tough place to come anytime you play here in Lubbock. again, like you said, they got to make shots. Keenan Evans, if he can keep playing the way he is, contain Buddy Hield. He's going to get his point.
Of course.
Just contain him and make other guys score. They got Woodard and they got Cousins. Make sure, you're not letting Hield just take over the game. I think Tech wins it. I'm going to go with 85-79, man. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Well, that's all for our show this week. In this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. Join us next week for the latest big-name stories in sports. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Until next time.